The third thing you should know about Bible interpretation is that the Bible is at times difficult because it's written in different language than you and I speak as mother tongues. My mother tongue is Norwegian, and I've learned English along the way. But I don't speak Hebrew, which is the language that the first part of the Bible, the Old Testament, is written in. And I don't have Greek as a mother tongue, which is the language, the second part of the Bible, the New Testament, is written in. And with the different languages, you might know, if you have ever come across, different languages, there is not always a one-to-one relationship between a word in one language and a word in another language. One word in one language might have a range of meanings that is expressed by different words in another language. So when the Bible translators sit down to translate the Bible for us into, this is actually a Norwegian Bible, because I'm Norwegian, or English, or German, or Spanish, they have to choose sometimes, okay, what meaning do I think this could be? Because this word can have different meanings. Yeah, I think it's this one. And sometimes they give up and they just give you kind of a literal transliteration of it. Let me give an example. This one isn't easy for those of you who have been a Christian for many years, but might be puzzling if you're new to the Bible. Jesus is often called Jesus Christ, especially in the letters of the New Testament by Paul and others. He talks about Jesus Christ. And then we might think from our culture, oh, Christ, that's Jesus' last name, right? Like my name is Reima Vetne. Vetne is my last name. Jesus Christ, his surname. Nope, that's not it. Christ is a Greek word that translates the Hebrew word Messiah, and it means the anointed one. So in the Old Testament, the first part of the Bible, some people were anointed with oil when they got an important job. Like if someone became a prophet for God, they could be anointed, or a priest, or a king. And the Messiah, the anointed one, or the Christ, as it says in the Greek. The anointed one, that would be a king that God had promised from the beginning of the Bible. That one day God would send an anointed one, a king, to fix everything, all the mess we humans have made on earth. And this king would rule righteously. When Jesus came down from heaven to earth, God who came down, he came down himself. He was the king. And Jesus, the king, God, the king, was here on earth for a few years. Then he went back to heaven. He will come back a second time to be king forever. So Jesus Christ means Jesus the Messiah, or Jesus the King. King Jesus, or President Jesus, is the real meaning of Jesus Christ. You don't know that intuitively if you just open the Bible. You need somebody who had studied the languages. I didn't know it either. I learned it from someone when I learned Greek myself many years ago. I'm going to give you a couple of other examples. In Matthew 6:22 and 23, Jesus says, this kind of strange language, right? The eye is the lamp of the body. So if your eye is healthy, your whole body will be full of light. What does that mean? Your body is healthy. Your eye is healthy. But if your eye is bad, as in your eye is evil, your whole body will be full of darkness. If then the light in you is darkness, how great is the darkness? Right, the eye is the lamp of the body. Okay, what does that mean? And what does it mean that we should have a healthy eye? Is Jesus talking about, getting eye surgery or getting glasses so I can see better? Is this an advertisement for the ophthalmologists at the time of Jesus? Nope. This is a language issue. This is a Hebrew idiom, an idiom the Jews were using at the time of Jesus. To have healthy eyes is another way of saying somebody is generous. And to have a bad eye or an evil eye means you are stingy. You're not helping people. So what Jesus is saying here is we should be generous and help people we see around us, because then our whole body, our whole life will be full of light. So, I has to be healthy. It means to be generous. And now that you know it, okay, yeah, that makes sense actually. When I see people, I should see them with a healthy eye, which means I should see their needs and I should be kind and help them. Kind of what kind of eyes do I use to look at people with? Stingy eyes or generous eyes? Makes sense once you know it. But the translators of the New Testament into English, they thought you would understand it instinctively if your eye is healthy. I'm not so sure that we instinctively do. Interestingly enough, people who translate the Old Testament from Hebrew into English, they thought, you're not going to understand this expression, so I better explain it. So if you read an English translation of Proverbs 22:9, it says there, whoever has an healthy eye, that's what it literally says in the Hebrew, but people don't understand that. Let's translate it, what it really means. Whoever has a bountiful eye, or in other translations, whoever has a generous eye will be blessed, for he shares his bread with the poor. Right? And then in the next chapter, Proverbs 23 verse 6, it says, do not eat bread of a man with a bad eye. What? Jesus, the author of Proverbs here did not say we shouldn't talk to people who are blind or have eye issues. No. It's an idiom. It's talking about people having a bad eye means they are stingy and not generous. Don't eat the bread from a man who is stingy. That's how it's translated, so we can understand it. Do not desire his delicacies. So, is the Bible easy or difficult to understand? Yes and yes. Most of it is easy enough. But there are some things here and there that are a little bit more difficult. And one of the reasons is it's written in different languages than you and I speak. And sometimes there are different idioms. Sometimes one word might mean several things. I'll give you one final little bonus tip here. If you've read the Gospel of John, book number 4 in the New Testament, Jesus says in a prayer he's praying to God the Father in John 17, he says, I glorified you, God the Father, on earth, having accomplished the work that you gave me to do. I glorified you. Glory and glorify. What does that mean? You think you might know, but what is it really? Glory and glorify. What does that actually mean? It's not a word we normally use in everyday language. Well, it turns out it can have a range of meaning. This Greek word, doxa in Greek. Just give you a word you can brag with to your friends. Doxa. No bragging. But doxa can mean the visible splendor and majesty of someone. So, oh, here comes the Queen of England, and all the pomp and circumstance and glory. That can be one meaning of the word glory, kind of the visible majesty. And since we're talking about God, it could be shining brilliance, shining glory. But it can also have more of a sense of honor or reputation. And how should we understand this verse? What was it Jesus had done for God the Father while Jesus was on earth? I glorified you on earth. Did Jesus show the visible splendor of God? Maybe not so much. He will do that when he comes the second time. The coming of Jesus on the clouds in glory, it says. Okay, then Jesus will come with shining brightness and majesty. In this case, it's probably more along the terms of Jesus restored God's honor. Jesus restored God's reputation on earth. God had a bad reputation. Jesus fixed it by showing how God really was, which is awesome and kind and loving. So, yeah, I glorified you on earth. What does that really mean? Well, now you have more of an insight. because we have been digging down into a word in the original meaning. That's how it often is for the Bible. Most of it is easy enough. So don't be afraid of opening the Bible and just reading. But there are some things here and there that it's good that other people have been digging into culture and languages and can tell us what things can mean. Then we get a richer and more accurate understanding of the Bible. And that's what we are trying to do here at Lay Scholars. All right, let's move on to video number 4. The fourth thing you should know about Bible interpretation.